What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the local meta report here in St. Louis, Missouri. Or if it is your first time here, welcome to the local meta report here in St. Louis, Missouri. I, of course, am Brad, aka the Mayor of Lorcana and co-host of the Rules of Villainy podcast. And this is a video series where each and every week I break down the local decks that are winning our leagues, our 3-0s, sometimes our 2-1s. If they're spicy enough, just fun decks, a way to highlight the community, highlight the stores, the players, and bring some decks out to your attention. Maybe you find something useful here and you want to use it at your local. So hopefully you find something here entertaining, something valuable, something educational, and ultimately just here to have fun. And let's break those down. We have 6 decks for you this week, and I hope you like the color amethyst because it's in every single one of them. So let's just get into it. All right, getting into our first deck from the collector store Tuesday night, which was hopping. I was happy to be out there for the first time in a while. We had quite a few people, enough to have 2 3-0s on the night. And our first one comes from Jesse running Amethyst Steel. This deck is card for card, I believe, what Frank Karsten was breaking down on the most recent episode of Podcana, which I will link in the episode notes below. Definitely check that out if you want somebody way more qualified to break down his deck building decisions. Who better than a 2-time DLC champion in Frank Karsten? But Jesse piloted this deck all the way to a 3-0 on Tuesday night, and it looks like a blast. I mean, I'm tired of playing against it, but I can respect how consistent these decks are. If we want to look at a few of the newer cards here, we have the Olaf at the 1-drop, who is a 2-1 quest for 1, and whenever he leaves play, you can return a chosen character of yours back to your hand. So if you have a character on board with some damage or something at risk of losing, it's a good opportunity to do some kind of bounce mechanics or something to even hit up like the Cheshire Cat at the 3-drop later on, who you might have boosted a few times to move some damage. And then the cards that you've put underneath the Cheshire Cat, guess what? They're part of your hand now. So it's a surprise draw mechanic in some capacity if you can pull that off. Just an idea there. I mean, there's so many different ways you can utilize that bounce from the Olaf. There is only 2 of them in this deck, though. One at the 2-drop is an Iago 02, that Challenger 5 card that's just absolutely bonkers. You never want to turn him sideways unless you're challenging with him. He does quest for 1, and maybe there are some safe opportunities once in a while. Once the Amethyst Steel deck cleans up the board, why not let this angry bird go questing a little bit? We got the Violet Saberwing. She's a 3-1 evasive on 2. The Black Heron, who has been making her way into these decks at the 2 cost. 3/3 quest for 1. One other fun card here is the David Xanatos at the 3-drop. That is a Steel Clan leader, 3/2 quest for 1. And whenever you play this character, you can choose and discard a card to deal 2 damage to a chosen character. So it's like an extra fire the cannons, but at the cost of one of the cards in your hand. Maybe you're preparing to dock the next turn or whatever. So you don't usually want to discard, because I've seen Amethyst Steel get to a point where they're in desperate need of cards, and quite frankly, they always find their dock or something to to replenish and just go wide with their board. So discarding is not always something I know Andy here on the podcast is not a fan of doing, but you could probably find the value in a little bit of extra removal with that 2 damage being thrown when using that. So a neat addition there. Francine at the 3 cost is a 4/3 with resist 1, so she just hangs out there a little bit longer because of the damage threshold there. The one of Demona with Challenger 2 on 4 with she's a 4/6, a 6/6 when she's challenging a quest for 1. She's been finding her way into some of these decks as well. And then a bunch of the heavy hitters that we've come to expect. It's Dumbo, Genie for more card draw action there. The Elsa to exert. The Hades, the villain of the week on the podcast this week, because he is such a fun card that everybody is having fun with in the Amethyst decks. 4 of Demona, and of course 4 of Strength of a Raging Fire, and 3 he hurled his Thunderbolt. So just a very consistent deck. I am tired of playing against it. It is very prevalent here in the St. Louis meta, but it gets the job done, and everybody is finding success with it. So congratulations to Jesse. Don't get to see you on here a whole lot, so I'm very happy to get to showcase one of your decks. And our second 2-0 of the night at the Collector Store comes by way of Steven on Ruby Amethyst Still, making the dream come true that Ruby is back. Not only Ruby, but Ruby Amethyst, the boogeyman of the early days of Disney Lorcana. We talked about it, we hinted at it a little bit last week. Could this be a deck that is making its way back? And he's surely proving it here. He's going to approve it again here in just a few minutes. Spoiler alert for another part of the video. And we also saw a local Golden Mickey winner from Milwaukee, Aiden, on the LCCs this week. We're in a version of Ruby Amethyst. So super exciting to see this come back. I know several people have grown in Disney Lorcana, grown up on this deck and love this deck. And this is the current iteration of it that is finding success here in St. Louis. If we want to break it down just a little bit, we have the Mulan and Tink on one. The Mulan comes in, of course, with damage on her. And that is important because this is a very heavy deck in moving damage. We have the Cheshire Cat that we can boost after he is played on 3. We have the Mother Gothel that anytime anything is challenged, you can move a single damage from that character. We have the Belle, who just straight up removes up to 3 damage from a character and moves it to an opposing character. So just a lot of damage manipulation there, in addition to the Hades on 7, who is deal damage to draw cards. Deal damage to yourself on play and when he quests, and having all the abilities to move that damage away in all these different directions is just, I think, great synergy for the card draw engine in that Hades, as well as this fun package of the 2-drop Shirkan 3/3 quest for 1 that can shift on 5 into this 8/8 quest for 2 and just be a menace to the board. And he, of course, he has the ability to where you can pay 1 ink to deal 1 damage to him and ready him back up. And now he's safe from being challenged. You can move that damage away by boosting, just everything we've talked about already. And the draw package from the Dumbo and the Genie, the evasive on the Elsa. Very, very, very cool. And yeah, we saw some success with him singing Be King Undisputed. I was sitting next to him at table 3 at the end of the night and watching him just eat away at a very fast lemon lime dogs deck, that Circle of Life deck that we talked about last week. I think he was playing Hunter, and he just cooked him. Like, this deck just did everything it needed to shut down that package, and it was impressive to watch, even though I should have been focusing on my game the entire time, which was a mirror match with Link in Blue Steel. But ultimately, it's exciting. It's exciting to see, and we're going to see a few improvements that he made between Tuesday and Thursday night when we talk about this deck again in just a few minutes. So congratulations once, Steven, and we'll get you again here in just a few. All right, and our third deck of the week comes to you by way of the Reckless One here at ROV at Bodach Games. Ron went 3-0 with Amethyst Steel once again. He named this deck Testing when he sent it to me, and I think that testing involves strictly the Timothy Q mouse here at the 2-drop. He is a 1 for the quest for 1. While you have a character with evasive in play, this character gets +1 lore, and you wouldn't believe how annoying that actually would be, and how much I had to play around that card, knowing that the Dumbo was coming, or the Tinkerbell was coming, or the Genie or Elsa, all the evasives in the deck that activated that extra lore on the mouse. I was playing a challenge heavy Ruby Steel on the night, and at times I had to make decisions where my challenger Li Shang, who can challenge ready characters, do I deal with the mouse or do I deal with the Calhoun? Some way or another, he's going to get this extra lore one way or another, and it was just a mind explosion that I had trying to figure out the lines here. And it was fun. Ron made short work of me, of course, because he is a master at this deck. It is something he's been playing, versions of this deck he's been playing for a while and finding success with. But the Timothy Q mouse, and he's also not running Thunderbolt, which I think is been in a lot of these cards. We saw it in the deck just a few moments ago. He is still running the 2 Fire the Cannons to deal with some early board presence that if he finds those there in the altar, and just try to get ahead with the board presence of his own, because that's what this deck does. It just swarms the board and says, deal with me before I just get to 20. Some other things in here that we can see, he's running the Cheshire Cat, which is just finding its way in every Amethyst deck. That boosting, moving damage, keeping a healthy board is always nice. He's on 4 of the Giant Cobra, which is discard to gain 2 lore. You can find that at the end of the game, and I think that's actually how he beat me in game 2 of his 2-0 win on me in round 1, was that he he was doing some mental gymnastics to figure out how to get around my established board where I was running a bunch of Hercules and doing all kinds of things where his challenge heavy tactics isn't going to work unless he deals with the Hercules first. And he just drew his way into two Cobras and had the could just get the instant lore to win the game. So other than that, he's playing the Tink. No shift line on the Tink, which is interesting as something I would consider if I was running this deck. But the alert in the Lexington, Dumbo, Genie, Elsa for the evasive package, a bunch of card draw there. The Hades, of course, I think is in every deck on the week because he's just such a fun card. Two of the Demona to exert everything and force action if he has an established board when she comes out, and of course a little bit of card draw if he doesn't have three cards in his hand already. But ultimately, Ron just got it done on Thursday nights. I think we had a field of six, but he played me and Ruby Steel. I think he played Andy, who was probably on Ruby or on us Amethyst Steel as well. And I don't know who his middle match was, but congratulations to Ron. And I wasn't lying to you because our fourth deck of the week comes to you by way of Steven, this time at Manticore Game Shop out in O'Fallon, going 3-0 again with Ruby Amethyst. But this time with a couple of changes, most notably here. He did take out the 7-cost Hades with the draw package, which I found quite surprising because that's a card that I really, really like. And we've been seeing find success in these decks for the last couple sets. But he replaced that with, firstly, the 4-cost Demona Challenger that we talked about just a little bit ago in another deck, but also the 5-cost Uninkable Headless Horseman Legendary from the Whispers set here that has been notably very fun in the decks that I've tested him in. He is a 4-2 quest for 2, and when he comes into play, he can instantly banish any character with 2 strength or less on the opposing side. And when he does that, and when anybody is banished while the Horseman is in play, all of your characters get +1 strength this turn. So when he comes out, you're likely looking at a Genie or something from their turns 1 through 3 that you can target. And then if they're foolish enough to have anything sideways, all of your characters that are already established can run into them with a little bit more strength and do a little bit of board cleanup. And as we talked about just previously, there's a lot of damage manipulation in this deck as well. The Mother Gothel is so good in that instance because whenever one of your characters challenges, you may move 1 damage counter from chosen character to chosen opposing character. So just lots of ways to clean up your board, clean up their board, and move that manipulation to keep, or move that damage to keep your board healthy. But other than that, everything in here looks about the same. And I guess he decided maybe that Hades is just too high up at the 7 cost to rely on that card draw, because we didn't talk about it just a little bit ago. He is running 3 of the Junior Woodchuck Guidebook, which is basically the new Friends on the Other Side that can't be sung. It is an item that when you play it for 2, you can exert it for 1 more ink and draw 2 cards. So that 3 cost that the Friends on the Other Side used to have is now in the form of the Junior Woodchuck Guidebook. So congratulations once again to Steven, making Ruby Amethyst great again. And yeah, this is really exciting, and I'm going to continue trying to build a version of this as well. I just need to pull a Hades, or 4 of them. It looks like I haven't pulled a single Hades yet. I've only pulled 1 Horseman. I got some work to do, but I'm happy to see you finding success with this deck. You've been trying for a while. We talked about it last week, and you're consistently getting it done this time, and I'm so happy for you, my man. All right, our 5th deck comes to you by way of Brandon at Manticore Game Shop as well, going 3-0 with Amethyst Steel. When I reached out about it, he said, if you want to include it, you can. It's just a metagame Amethyst Steel type deck. And I said, listen, I don't really want to talk about Amethyst Steel as much as we have to here in the St. Louis region, but it is a very good deck, and this video is to celebrate you and your success with any deck that you play. So that's what we're doing here. Thank you for sharing your deck with me, Brandon. This is, like he said, it's pretty much what we've seen in the past. There are some alterations to it that we didn't see earlier. The Happy in the 1 slot is another trigger for Dumbo. It also, I think, triggers the Timothy Q Mouse that he is playing here as well, which is, as we talked about previously, while you have a character with evasive in play, this character gets +1 lore. So you play Happy on 1, you play Timothy on 2. Of course, he's got to dry first, but since Happy is evasive on turn, I believe that activates the Timothy Q Mouse. So just another way to activate the Timothy there, another way to activate the Dumbo. I think that's a really good addition. And also, he's a 2-1, so he deals with the early evasive characters that people might play, as we saw with the Violet Saberwing earlier. She's a 3-1 one that comes out on 2 that's evasive. If you establish as happy on turn 1, they might just ink that card instead because they know that they're not going to get more than one lore once she turns sideways. So I do like the happy there at the 1 slot just to answer early evasive answers. And if he or cards, and if he sticks around, he gets more with the Timothy Q mouse. He gets more with the Dumbo. So very, very cool there. He is running one of the White Rose as well, which we didn't see in either of the previous decks. That is just a 3-cost 3/3 that quests, or that requests for 1, of course, but get 1 lore whenever you played as well. That is something to consider putting in with the Olaf that we saw in Jesse's deck earlier, because you could bounce that card back and then the opponent just knows, well, they got instant lore in hand again, even though they can assume that they or have that giant cobra as well, which I've fallen victim to even this past week at Collector Store. My first match was with Veronica, and that giant cobra. It was the bane of my existence because I knew she had it most of the time, and she ended up taking that series to the 1 as well, because that instant lore is just, you can't do anything about it if you can't make them get rid of it. So moving on through the rest of the deck, of course, we saw the Cheshire Cat. We talked about that, I think, in every deck so far. The Challenger Demona still showing up there at the 4-cost slot. Challenger 2, 4/6 quest for 1. Dumbo Genie Elsa, typical line there. The Hades, the big Demona comes out, allows you to draw up to 3 cards, exerts all the opposing characters, and of course 4 Strength of a Raging Fire and 1 of He Hurled His Thunderbolt. So ultimately, yeah, a very consistent deck, piloted very well by Brandon to find that 3-0 there at Manticore. So congratulations to you, my man. All right, our 6th and final deck of the week comes to you by way of Justin, back at the Collector Store on Friday night, going 3-0 once again with Ruby Amethyst. That's right, our 6 decks of the week were split 3-3, Amethyst Steel, Ruby Amethyst, and this one's just a little bit different than the 2 you've seen already by way of Steven. One notable difference right away in the 2 spots is the Tiger is gone, the Candle is in. Lumiere is a 4 of, going 2/2 with a quest for 1 and giving everybody else on the board +1 strength, which matters quite a bit as Ruby is finding its place in the meta, bringing in this Horseman at the 5-cost slot. All your 2 strength characters are no longer susceptible to him striking you down as soon as he enters the board because Lumiere is buffing them up. I think that is a very, very good card. And in fact, it just, it equals out the board quite a bit too. If when you want to make some favorable trades, or whenever they're trading into you, you hit back a little bit harder. I think that Candle is very, very good. And then moving on, of course, we have the Cheshire Cat. It's been in every one of these decks. We have the Sisu, who I did not mention in the Steven's decks, but she is very good. She's a 1/4, and her strength fluctuates based on how many cards your opponent has in their hand. So if they're drawing quite a bit, then she hits like a truck and will deal with almost anything that she can run into. The Demona, of course, the Challenger one on the 4 slots, and then the mid-range that we're so used to seeing in any Amethyst line. We have the Dumbo Genie Elsa. He is running the 1 of Iago, who is an illusion with the Vanish ability, which is probably why it's only a 1 of, because any targeted removal or any kind of target will take him out. No questions asked, go straight to the Banish pile. But he is a 4/6 and evasive, so he can deal with quite a bit. The Hades, of course, is a 4 of. The Horseman is a 4 of. Demona, he is running 3 of, and a little bit of draw there. If he's running low on cards, he can draw up to 3, exert all opposing characters. If you have Lumiere on board, an established board, they're hitting very hard and can control the board a little bit. We have the Rush Peepo, Super Goof. I always say Super Goof. He is the Flying Goof. He's a 5/5 evasive that with Rush, quest for 1. And then the 2 newer cards that we did not see in Stevens as well is the 3-cost Inkable action. They never come back. He's running 2 of those that says up to 2 chosen characters can't ready at the start of their next turn, and you get to draw a card when you play it. And then the Library is making its way back into the meta. It is a 1/8 quest. It is a 1/8 that costs 3 to play and is inkable. And whenever a character is banished at this location, you may draw a card. So with the 1 cost to move characters over there, all of your characters, when they have any spare ink, can find their way over to the library and turn sideways with the hope of getting a little bit of card draw if they are dealt with. So 3-0 on the night. No surprise, Justin is a great player and on his way practicing for CCS. And just like last week, wishing him the best of luck, because I think that's 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away to get some practice in. And yeah, so congratulations to Justin. And that's going to do it. That's going to wrap up week 2 of the local meta report here in St. Louis. We are constantly evolving. Like I said, it's only week 2, and we are seeing some exciting new things. Ruby is apparently back. At least 50% of the decks that we looked at today were Ruby. It was formerly unplayable, as some thought in the past, but happy to see it making a resurgence. So thank you to everybody who submitted their decks to allow me to celebrate you, celebrate the stores that we get to play in each and every week here, and just having fun with this game. Thank you to all of you who tuned in to this content prior weeks and in the future, and right now especially. Your support means the world. If you like this kind of content or anything from the Rules of Villainy team, please like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications so you can get notified of any kind of content we throw out there for you. Of course, we have this report. We have Deck Test Tuesdays with Andy and Kirsten. We have Vince on TikTok and now YouTube doing almost daily pack pulls, looking for that enchanted, because he has not been finding luck in that recently, but with your support, maybe he will. And then, of course, we have the podcast proper coming to you out every Friday, hoping that you are enjoying that because we're having so much fun giving it to you. So, all that being said, thank you once again, and good luck in all of your locals as we prepare for the set championships, as we prepare for Richmond coming up in just a few months. And I will talk to you again soon. Happy questing.